Varieties of pranayam. Bahya abhyantar stambhavriti desakala. Sankhya patitishto dirgha sukshma. Pranayam is regarded lengthy or subtle according to its three components, the external, the internal and the steady. The retention processes are modified by the regulations of space, time and number. When the breath is expired, it is rechaka, the first kind of pranayam. When the breath is drawn in, it is the second, termed puraka. When it is suspended, it is the third kind, called kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is retention of breath. Kumbhaka increases the period of life. It augments the inner spiritual force, vigor and vitality. If you retain the breath for 1 minute, this 1 minute is added to your span of life. Yogins, by taking the breath to the Brahmarandhra at the top of the head and keeping it there, defeat the lord of death, Yama, and conquer death. Chung Dev lived for 1400 years through the practice of kumbhaka. Each of these motions in pranayam, viz, rechaka, puraka and kumbhaka, is regulated by space, time and number. By space is meant the inside or outside of the body and the particular length or the breadth, and also when the prana is held in some particular part of the body. During expiration, the distance to which breath is thrown outside varies in different individuals. The distance varies during inspiration also. The length of the breath varies in accordance with the pervading tattva. The length of the breath is respectively 12, 16, 4, 8, 0 fingers breadths according to the tattvas, Prithvi, Apas, Tejas, Vayu or Akasha, earth, water, fire, air or ether. This is again external during exhalation and internal during inhalation. Time is the time of duration of each of these, which is generally counted by matra, which corresponds to 1 second. Matra means a measure. By time is also meant how long the prana should be fixed in a particular center or part. Number refers to the number of times the pranayam is performed. The yogic student should slowly take the number of pranayams to 80 at one sitting. He should have 4 sittings in the morning, afternoon, evening and midnight, or at 9 am, and should have thus 320 pranayams in all. The effect or fruit of pranayam is udghata or awakening of the sleeping Kundalini. The chief aim of pranayam is to unite the prana with the apna and take the united pranayam slowly upwards towards the head. Kundalini is the source for all occult powers. The pranayam is long or short according to the period of time it is practiced. Just as water, thrown on a hot pan shrivels upon all sides as it is being dried up, so also air, moving in or out ceases its action by a strong effort of restraint, kumbhaka, and stays within. Vachaspati describes, measured by 36 matras, is the first attempt, udghata, which is mild. Twice that is the second, which is middling. Thrice that is the third, which is the intense. This is the pranayam as measured by number. The place of exhalation lies within 12 angulas, inches, of the tip of nose. This is to be ascertained through a piece of reed or cotton. The place of inhalation ranges from the head down to the soles of the feet. This is to be ascertained through a sensation similar to the touch of an ant. The place of kumbhaka consists of the external and internal places of both exhalation and inhalation taken together, because the functions of the breath are capable of being held up at both these places. This is to be ascertained through the absence of the 2 indicators noted above, in connection with exhalation and inhalation. The specification of the 3 kinds of breath regulations, by all these 3, time, space, and number, is only optional. The 4th is restraining the prana by directing it to external or internal object. Bahyabhyantara Vishayakshepi Chaturtha, Yoga Sutras, 1150. The 3rd kind of pranayam that is described in Sutra 50 of the Yoga Sutras is practiced only till the first udghata is marked. This 4th pranayam is carried further. It concerns with the fixing of the prana in the various lotuses, padmas or chakras, and taking it slowly, step by step, and stage by stage to the last lotus in the head, where perfect samadhi takes place. This is internal. Externally, it takes into consideration the length of breath in accordance with the prevailing tattva. Prana can be described either inside or outside. By gradual mastery over the preliminary 3 kinds of pranayam, the 4th kind comes in. In the 3rd kind of pranayam, the sphere is not taken into consideration. The stoppage of the breath occurs with one single effort and is then measured by space, time and number, and thus becomes dirgha, long, and sukshma, subtle. In the 4th variety, however, the spheres of expiration and inspiration are ascertained. The different states are mastered by and by. The 4th variety is not practiced all at once by a single effort like the 3rd one. On the other hand, it reaches different states of perfection as it is being done. After one stage is mastered, the next stage is taken up and practiced. Then it goes in succession. The 3rd is not preceded by measurements and is brought about by a single effort. The 4th is, however, preceded by the knowledge of the measurements and is brought about by much effort. This is the only difference. The conditions of time, space and number are applicable to this kind of pranayam also. Particular occult powers develop themselves at each stage of progress. 3 types of pranayam. There are 3 types of pranayam, viz., adma, madhyama and uttama, inferior, middle and superior. The adma pranayam consists of 12 matras, madhyama consists of 24 matras and the uttama occupies a time of 32 matras. This is for puraka. The ratio between puraka, kumbhaka and rechaka is 1:4:2. Puraka is inhalation. Kumbhaka is retention. Rechaka is exhalation. If you inhale for a period of 12 matras, you will have to make kumbhaka for a period of 48 matras. Then the time for rechaka will be 24 matras. This is for adma pranayam. The same rule will apply to the other 2 varieties. First, practice for a month of adma pranayam. Then practice madhyama for 3 months. Then take up the uttam variety. Salute your Guru and Shri Ganesha as soon as you sit in the asana. The time for abhyas is early morning 4 am, 10 am, evening 4 pm, and night 10 pm or 12 pm. As you advance in practice, you will have to do 320 pranayams daily. Sagar pranayam is that pranayam which is attended with mental japa of any mantra, either Gayatri or Om. It is 100 times more powerful than the Agarbha pranayam, which is plain and unattended with any japa. Pranayam siddhi depends upon the intensity of the efforts of the practitioner. An ardent, enthusiastic student with parama utsaha, sahsa and dridhta, zeal, cheerfulness and tenacity can effect siddhi, perfection, within 6 months, while a happy-go-lucky practitioner with tandari and alasya, drowsiness and laziness, will find no improvement even after 8 or 10 years. Plod on. Persevere with patience, faith, confidence, expectation, interest and attention. You are bound to succeed. Nil desperandum, never despair. The Vedantic Kumbhaka. Being without any distraction and with a calm mind, one should practice pranayam. Both expiration and inspiration should be stopped. The practitioner should depend solely on Brahman, that is the highest aim of life. The giving out of all external objects is said to be rechaka. The taking in of the spiritual knowledge of sastras is said to be puraka, and the keeping to oneself of such knowledge is said to be kumbhaka. He is an emancipated person who practices his chitta thus. There is no doubt about it. Through kumbhaka the mind should always be taken up, and through kumbhaka alone it should be filled up within. It is only through kumbhaka that kumbhaka should be firmly mastered. Within it is Paramasiva. At first in his Brahmagranthi there is produced soon a hole or passage. Then having pierced Brahmagranthi, he pierces Vishnu Granthi. Then he pierces Rudra Granthi. Then the yogin attains his liberation through the religious ceremonies performed in various births, through the grace of gurus and devtas, and through the practice of yoga.